This is IPA Gets Talking, the podcast series for the promotion of the International Police Association. My name is Mick Walsh, and I'm your podcast producer. If you like what you hear, please follow, like, and share. So today I'm coming to you live from Fox Road in Nottingham, the International Administration Headquarters for the IPA. And for the very first time, I've met my next guest, who is Karen Duckworth. Karen, you're very welcome.
Thank you very much.
And you are the Vice President of Section UK.
That's right. I'm Vice President with responsibility for social and culture portfolio.
Excellent, excellent. I think you've served for over 30 years with the London Metropolitan Police.
That's right. I retired in 2009. From the Met, and then did some work for a few years during COVID, particularly around police training, and now I focus more on the IPA.
Cool. What I'm looking at here is a beautiful pen, a lapel pen that was presented to us, each of us actually, at our IPA World Congress, and it has the word hero, H-E-R, and the letter O is in the IPA logo, which is very beautiful. But it's I suppose more symbolic of maybe females, or it's a movement towards, I suppose, women in IPA. And I suppose your kind of tagline is hero, she is IPA.
That's right.
Can you tell me a little bit more about what that means?
Well, it's really about trying to make the IPA more visible to women in policing. That's the broader policing family. I think one of the thorny issues that all executive committees are wrestling with at the moment is the whole issue of recruitment and retention, and part of this plays into that. How do we make the IPA more visible, full stop, to policing, and also then how do you make it more visible to parts of policing that perhaps are underrepresented already within the IPA? And at the minute, the balance between sort of gender, if you like, in the IPA is 15 to 85. Which, when you think about policing generally, it's about 33% of police officers are female, and that number is growing. About 50% of those going into university education through that recruitment pathway are women. So it's something that needs to be looked at, and the SheisIPA is really just part of a project looking at how we can embrace an inclusive vision for the future of the IPA. How can we be representative? How can people in policing look at the IPA, see themselves reflected in the IPA and think, actually, that's a brilliant organisation. There's loads of opportunities in there, and there is something for me and something that will help me in my professional development or just my personal enjoyment. And it's about putting some traction under that.
Yeah, no, I think it's a really important topic, and we as the IEB had our very first strategic meeting here today and yesterday in Fox Road, and I suppose, you mentioned inclusion there and diversity, and it's something we discussed, and we see it as very important. And I know we spoke off air about the importance of those areas, and it's something that all police forces are incorporating. So it stands to reason that the IPA need to bring it to the fore as well. I know there was a motion passed at this year's World Congress, and Mary Daly, and a big shout out to Mary in Section Ireland, was the person who led that motion, and that motion, successfully passed. So it's going to bring around a seminar, I believe, in Gimburn maybe next year.
Yeah, that's right. We're looking at doing something over 2-3-4 days. We've yet to decide. But basically the purpose of that, so you've got trying to make the IPA visible to women in policing who are not yet members is one thing. So driving up recruitment and improving sort of gender balance, that's one thing. But the other thing is there are a lot of really good, in that 15%, there are a lot of really good women in the IPA who are just getting on and doing it and making the most of it. And this is about connecting those people, for one thing, so creating a bit of a network, kind of not mutual support, that's probably not the right way of putting it, but from a professional development point of view, connecting women that are already in the IPA.
I suppose sometimes you hear in industry or in business, you talk about that glass ceiling and obstructions for women in that society. Is there anything IPA can do better? I know today we're talking about this movement about promoting women, about inclusion and everything else, but is there anything else we should be doing at an international level to try and promote women?
Well, because I think it's about opportunity, isn't it? Because I think it's about, there are some very capable women, and the IPA is, quite a complex structure in many ways because of its international nature, and then obviously with the sections underneath. So I think there is something about, and this is what partly the Gimborne seminar is about, is kind of opening up the IPA in terms of that understanding, from people, men and women. This is not just a kind of women-only thing. This is just about making it more visible to women, but that's also includes men who kind of support women and support women in policing. So it's not just a women thing. But it's about opening up that understanding. How does the IPA work? If you want to be on one of the committees or one of the commissions, how do you do that? How do you go about finding out about that? And what would you need to do to put yourself in the right position to be the right person to be taken onto one of those commissions? I mean, I think it is just about kind of lifting the veil on how it all works, and then trying to encourage more women who have got the capability, they've got the skill, and they've got the time to consider putting themselves forward. And I'm not sure, some do at the moment, but I think the IPA would benefit probably from quite a few more stepping forward into those sorts of positions, only from the point of view as it brings balance to the discussion, doesn't it?
Absolutely. No,
new ideas and balance.
Yeah, we discussed, I suppose, over the last couple of days here with our strategy, what's important for IPA, stuff like sustainability going forward, but definitely around diversity and around the demographics of IPA in general, and women being one of those important demographics that we need to focus on that. So, look, I wish you all the very best. Thank you for taking the time here today to talk to me about HERO, SheisIPA, and I'm sure we'll do a lot of promotional work with you going forward, and particularly for your seminar next year. But this is not a one-day project or a one-year project. This is something that has to be integrated into IPA as we go forward.
Yeah, I think this is, as you said when we spoke off air, this is almost a movement, isn't it? This is just a change, a seed change in the way that the IPA looks at visibility, who it's trying to appeal to, and what's the direction of travel. Where does it want to be in 5 years' time, 10 years' time? What relevance does it want to have to policing? Because if it wants to be relevant, it needs to look at what's happening in policing and reflect that. And when you were talking about diversity, there isn't a police force in the UK, certainly, that hasn't got a senior management inclusion and diversity lead. So why haven't we?
Absolutely.
And that's right. It's about reflecting what's happening in policing as a change. So it's exciting times, and I'm really pleased that the IEB are on board and really behind this project, because that's really important for this.
Yeah, I know, and we spoke about collaboration and I suppose HR within police across the world. You mentioned recruitment and retention. It's in every police force, I think, at the moment, and it's engaging with those HR departments to say, what can we do to support you, and vice versa, what can they do for us? So I think as you say, it's going to be an exciting couple of years ahead. Yeah. So Karen Duckworth, Vice President UK, thank you. Thank you for taking the time, and I wish you all the best of luck in this venture.
Thank you very much.